Clearly he was murdered.
By whom?
Well, the police think it was this chap Boone. I see no reason to disagree with the police. Except...
Except what?
You say he's a cripple?
Yes.
How severe is his disability?
It's only a slight limb.
Well, my medical experience tells me that when there is a weakness in one limb, it's very often compensated for by exceptional strength in the others. You're not convinced?
This man is a professional beggar. He's well known in the city. He's well liked in the city. I've seen him many times. He has a remarkable faculty for repartee with which he delights his many clients.
Well, he sounds harmless. Why, therefore, did the police arrest him rather than the Lascar?
That is the very question that I put to Inspector Bradstreet.
No, I'm innocent. No.
Murder has obviously been committed. By a process of elimination, Boone must be the murderer.
Are these Neville Sinclair's clothes? Why did you eliminate the Lascar as a suspect?
Because Mrs. Sinclair saw her husband in an upstairs window, apparently in the middle of a struggle. She went to a downstairs door and was confronted by the Lascar. While they were conversing, or to be more precise, while the Lascar and his assistant were ejecting Mrs. Sinclair from the building, the fight was proceeding upstairs, leading, as we now know, to the death of Neville Sinclair.
A 21st birthday present. A man of meticulous habits, no scratches. What was the motive in killing Sinclair?
That remains to be established.
Not a trace of opium. Could it have been robbery?
No. No, Sinclair's wallet was in his pocket. The money untouched.
How'd you explain the coins and the overcoat?
I cannot truly answer that, Mr. Holmes.
Let me try. Boone kills Sinclair. He removes the outer garments, hoping to capitalize on them and their contents. He lifts the body, carries it across the room, forces it through the open window, hence the abrasion. Blood upon the windowsill. He releases it into the river.
Well, it's sucked away by the tide.
In the midst of this activity, he hears the scuffle downstairs as Mrs. Sinclair tries to force her way in. There's not a moment to be lost.
Must dispose of the clothing.
He starts with the overcoat. He realizes at once it will float and not sink. So what does he do? He rushes across the room to some secret hoard where he's accumulated the fruits of his beggary, stuffs all the coins that he can lay his hands on into the pockets of the overcoat,
And drops it into the water.
and would presumably have done the same with the other garments if you and your men had not arrived.
Conceals the other garments behind the curtain in the hopes they'll not be noticed, and they would not have been noticed had Mrs. Sinclair not been so persistent.
Inspector, whatever plot has been hatched in that opium den, I cannot but imagine that the Lascar is not somehow involved.
I was sorely tempted to arrest him on the day. I'll send a couple of men up there now.
No, Inspector, with your permission, may I suggest an alternative strategy?
By all means.
Let me visit the opium den. Discreetly, incognito. We shall learn what we may.
But what did you learn?
Nothing. Nothing. Everybody, as far as I can ascertain, appears to be telling the truth. I cannot see an overall pattern. Can you see a pattern, Watson?
No, I see no pattern. But I do see a woman who, despite all objective circumstances, still believes that her husband is alive. And you've said on many occasions that the impression of a woman may be more valuable than the conclusion of an analytical reasoner.
But if he is still alive, where is he?
I have no idea. But I do have an urgent request. It's now well past 4 in the morning. May I go to sleep?
Certainly.
Thank you.
Watson.
Well, what time is it?
Dawn.
I've only had 2 hours sleep.
I wonder if you'd do me the very great kindness of considering the possibility of waking up.
I assume you have a good reason.
Are you game for the drive?
Certainly, but does it have to be this early?
I have a little theory I wish to test.
Is anyone's life at stake?
Certainly not.
Wouldn't it be possible to test your theory a little later this morning?
I'll see you downstairs in 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Come on, Nelson. You have the grand gift of silence, Watson. It makes you quite invaluable as a companion. Watson, you're in the presence of one of the most absolute fools in Europe.
You exaggerate,
I
Holmes.
deserve to be kicked from here to Charing Cross.
The moment you woke me up, I would have been
I've got
prepared
the
to do
key,
it.
Watson, here in this Gladstone bag. Good morning, gentlemen. Watson, I confess I've been as blind as a mole. But it's better to learn wisdom late than never to learn it at all. Bradstreet. Bradstreet. I've called about that beggar man, Boone.
He's in the cells, Mr. Holmes. What can I do for you?
I should very much like to see him.
He'd probably be asleep.
Most of the population is probably asleep, Holmes.
Very well, Mr. Holmes. Dr. Watson, if you come this way. You can leave your bag in the office, Mr. Holmes.
I'll take it with me.
It contains the key.
He's a dirty scoundrel. Filthy. Refuses to wash. Says washing weakens a man's resistance. Asleep. He's a beauty, isn't he?
Inspector, would you do me the great goodness of opening the door as quietly as possible?